What is up, people of YouTube? I'm your host, Vernon. This is Falcon Lake. Let's fish that. Alright, ladies and gents, first video I saw about fishing here in Manitoba happened to be Falcon Lake. Now, this was early in spring. People were throwing around Ned rigs, catching walleye and smallmouth. And I thought to myself, that's something I want to try. Now, ever since reaching Manitoba and actually talking to people, people have also called this lake Skunk Lake. And listening to some of the stories, you're either catching tons of fish or no fish at all. And that has had an effect where I haven't gone fishing out there yet because I'm kind of scared about what the fishing's going to be like. But at the end of the day, you won't know unless you get out there and actually try. That's what we're going to do out there today. I'm just going to be fishing around, seeing if I can get on any fish. Called Finally Fishing. Finally Fishing. Alright, ladies and gents, it's been something like 3 hours of throwing around all sorts of little lures to see if I can find any fish out there. Now, so far I missed one fish on top water and we lost a giant smallmouth on that side. So I have been getting fish, but I haven't been able to land anything yet. Now we'll continue with the lures throughout the day, see if maybe we can get on something. But I think for the moment, I quickly want to swap out the setup I'm using, try something different, see if we can at least get on some kind of fish out there. Alright, so I've been spending quite a lot of time focusing on using some crawl imitation and little Ned rigs and stuff, simply because whilst casting around I could see quite a lot of crawls, especially here near the rocks. But alongside the crawls there is also a bunch of small fish. Now I do know microfishing isn't the most sexiest of fishing styles, but when you do have opportunities where you're seeing something different you haven't caught before, you need to pounce on those opportunities. I'm just going to use a tiny little piece of split shot and a tiny little hook, small piece of bait on there. I'm going to try and dangle it in front of some of these small fish I'm seeing, see if we can get some hooked and have a look at them. Our first little victim landed. This one is a baby perch. Dropped him and off he goes. Now, that's not the fish that I want to be targeting. I just wanted to get a fish at least. At least we're not skunked. We got a baby perch. But now I'm going to be moving around on the rocks, trying to find the fish that I saw a bit earlier. See if we can manage to catch one. We got ourselves another tiny little fish. And that's actually smallmouth. Little 1-inch smallmouth bass. Very difficult to hang on to these small fish. Don't want to be squeezing them, so he jumped out of my hands and back into the water. Alright, so while having lunch, throwing out some baits, and we get a little hit on our baits. Now this is not going to be my little 2-pound smallmouth that we lost, but at least it's something while we're having some lunch in the middle of the day. And we got ourselves a tiny little perch. Surprised this guy actually got the hooks. A tiny little perch. Let's get him back down there. Off he goes. I've tried some bait fish out there, but at the moment I'm throwing some night crawlers, just because I think that even the smallmouth would go for some night crawlers. But I've been rebaiting quite a few times where something's stealing the baits, and I think now we know what the culprits are, so I'm going for smaller pieces.
That's a little fish.
It's a little perch.
Can I let him go?
Alright, ladies and gents, I'm not quite sure that I would call this skunk lake. I caught some small rock bass, caught smallmouth bass, and about 20 small little perch. Of course, I'm not going to put all of the small fish in the video. However, the little darters, small fish swimming around that I was trying to catch, didn't get any of them. And as far as the big fish, if I didn't mess up catching that big smallmouth, this would have been a completely different video. Now I do understand the problem with this lake. There is actually not a lot of shore access, quite a lot of private properties all around the lake. Kind of just this one little small corner here on the southern side where you have access to the lake. And from what I've seen out there today, the fish aren't sitting still in one particular space. They're kind of cruising around the entire lake. You have to wait a long time for some fish to show themselves to you. Now add to that there's quite a lot of grass in this lake, and it's very difficult to actually find fish. Now if you're out on a boat or a kayak, out in deep, you might find some better fish, but from shore it can be rather tricky. And I think certain times of the year it would be a little bit better. Now, in my mind, this is a very realistic look at what the fishing's like. You might get lucky and get on some fish, but you might also struggle a lot. Alright, but I had quite a lot of fun out there. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider hitting subscribe. I do weekly videos. Alright, I hope that one day too, I will be able to unlock the secrets of this lake and can show you where and how to get the fish. But until that time, thank you for tagging along. And like always, I'll see you next time.